How free do you feel right now? In modern times, we have a remarkable ability not to say things as they are. How are they? Well, the bad news is that we have misled ourselves into believing that the things everyone needs should be placed into the hands of those who no one really trusts. These include housing, education, healthcare, retirement plans, and so much more. We have done all this in the name of doing the right thing. We've been told that taking large percentages of our incomes leads to fair and good outcomes. C.S. Lewis once said, "Of all tyrannies, a tyranny sincerely exercised for the good of its victims may be the most oppressive. It would be better to live under robber barons than under omnipotent moral busybodies. The robber baron's cruelty may sometimes sleep, his cupidity may at some point be satiated, but those who torment us for our own good will torment us without end, for they do so with the approval of their own conscience. People who do evil and call it justice are among the most dangerous. They will not rest until they have made some change to your situation, allegedly for your betterment, but seemingly always to your detriment." Proverbs 4 verse 16 provides a vivid description. "For they cannot sleep unless they have done wrong. They are robbed of sleep unless they have made someone stumble." Truly, there is nothing more important for you to realize about sin and evil than this. It almost never calls itself wicked. It always positions itself as good. When Eve was tempted by the serpent, it convinced her that God's word wasn't good, but that eating the fruit would be good. For God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. So when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was a delight to her eyes, and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took of its fruit and ate, and she also gave some to her husband, who was with her, and ate. Finally, if you are skeptical about whether we are living under tyranny, consider these passages. The first is in Genesis 47, during a famine in Egypt, where Joseph is second in command to Pharaoh. The people come to him, selling their lands and even themselves for food, since they could no longer produce it. Then Joseph said to the people, "Behold, I have this day bought you and your land for Pharaoh. Now here is seed for you, and you shall sow the land, and at the harvest you shall give a fifth to Pharaoh, and 4/5 shall be your own, as seed for the field, and as food for yourselves and your household, and as food for your little ones." What do you notice about this story? After the people sold themselves into servitude to Pharaoh, they were required to pay a fifth, 20% of their harvest to him. Yet today, in the Western world where people consider themselves free, the effective tax burden, including income taxes, social security contributions, and other levies, averages closer to 35%, according to recent OECD figures. Think about that contrast. Let's also now glance at 1 Samuel 8, where God describes what the tyranny of a king would look like after the Israelites request a king. "He will take the best of your fields and vineyards and olive orchards and give them to his servants. He will take the 10th of your grain and of your vineyards and give it to his officers and to his servants. He will take your male servants and female servants and the best of your young men and your donkeys and put them to his work. He will take the 10th of your flocks, and you shall be his slaves. And in that day you will cry out because of your king. whom you have chosen for yourselves, but the Lord will not answer you in that day. 1 Samuel 8 verses 14 to 18. Among the many things said here, the most striking for our purposes is that they had to pay a tenth, 10% of their harvests and flocks. Does that sound low? Was it only because we have been conditioned to pay so much more? The welfare state, a modern Pharaoh's bargain. Drawing from these ancient truths, let's reflect on our own era. In the welfare state, governments promise security, cradle to grave care in exchange for ever-growing portions of our labor and wealth. But is this freedom or a subtler form of servitude? Inspired by thinkers like Gary North, who rooted his economic views in biblical principles, we see that true prosperity flows from individual responsibility, voluntary charity, and limited civil authority, not from centralized control that redistributes by force. North argued that the Bible envisions an economy where families and communities steward resources under God's law, free from the heavy hand of the state. Yet today, under the banner of compassion, we surrender autonomy in education, healthcare, and retirement to bureaucratic systems. These benefits come at a cost. Inflation erodes savings, regulations stifle innovation, and dependency replaces self-reliance. What begins as help becomes a chain, much like the Egyptian servitude to Pharaoh. Consider, in ancient Egypt, a 20% tax followed voluntary enslavement during crisis. In biblical Israel, a 10% levy marked tyranny. Today, with effective rates often exceeding 30%, plus mandates on how we live, work, and raise our children, are we not echoing these patterns? We applaud policies for the greater good, yet they burden the very people they claim to uplift, fostering division and resentment. This isn't to condemn those in need or dismiss genuine acts of kindness. Rather, it's a call to question: have we dressed up tyranny as freedom? What if real liberation lies in reclaiming personal stewardship, trusting in divine provision over state promises? As Proverbs reminds us, wisdom begins with fearing the Lord, not the latest policy. Tell me, how free do you truly feel? Perhaps it's time to seek a path where charity is voluntary, burdens are light, and true justice prevails. Thank you for watching this video. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and let me know what you think. In the meantime, I will see you next time.